Hey, today I'm going to give you tips for cybersecurity for international travel. And I'm going to do that by covering cell phones, laptops, and external storage. So, and I thought I'd do this for y'all because cybersecurity is not only my special interest, but it's also what I do on a professional level. So I was like, oh, that's something I haven't covered on my channel, and you really need to know that. Like, especially if these items that I'm going to cover also go for the continental United States for the reasons that the people that are in the U.S. know about, which is the rise of fascism and all the crazy stuff that's going on over there. And also, these are very, very good, very good to do when you're traveling internationally. So, for your thoughts, I have under cell phones because I have lots of notes going on down here. You want to enable full disk encryption for your devices, your mobile devices. For iOS, that happens automatically. And for Android, you can go to Settings, Security, Encryption. Okay. We have use a travel eSIM or SIM and do that instead of using your primary SIM because SIM swapping or SIM cloning, that's a thing. We don't want that to happen to you. So also, what you're going to do is you're going to disable your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi auto connect and turn on airplane mode in high risk areas and reconnect manually. Now, this in particular is something that I do all the time, just as a regular thing. I suggest just get into the rhythm of doing that anywhere you go, whichever device. So we're going to continue with enable your remote wipe via Find My in iOS. And for Android, that's Find My Device. And do that before you go out of town. Set a strong alphanumeric password. Not only the biometrics, actually do both. and uh, and I'm saying that specifically because border agents in some countries they can compel you to use your fingerprints. So it's good to, like I said, also have a password. A strong alphanumeric password. That part is very important. Nothing guessable. Okay. So I also want you to install a reputable VPN and set it to always on before entering your destination country. I want you to, and I'm telling you that because some VPNs are blocked. So once you're inside the country, like if, for instance, if you're going to visit China, you're going, like I said, do that before you go. Uh, Another big thing is to audit your app permissions and remove anything that accesses your camera, your contacts, or your location unnecessarily. Ideally, just only leave on the ones that you use. And even then, what I actually do is when it comes to accessing my location, I always put it to ask first, always. So that's a simple thing you can do. Another thing is consider a burner phone with the only essential apps for like high risk destinations. I would say I'll leave it up to you to decide what you want to consider high risk, but I would say, really if you're like interestingly, yes, I'm going to say it, but if you're already outside of the country and you're coming back into the United States, use a burner phone. Okay. So for laptops, we also want to, again, enable full disk encryption with BitLocker for Windows Pro and Enterprise. You can use File Vault for Macs, and you need to verify that it's actually on. Okay, okay, not just offered, that it's on and working. You want to set your BIOS and UEFI password to prevent boot level attacks and unauthorized OS changes. Want to disable auto login, okay? You can require a password after sleep and the lid close. Absolutely. We also, for your laptop, want to use a privacy screen filter And that blocks out, people shoulder surfing. Shoulder surfing is when people like walk by and, have an eye on your laptop screen. Yes, use a privacy screen for that. You want to cover or disable your webcam and microphone when it's not in use. You want to remove or disable any unnecessary ports. And keep your iOS and security patches fully, fully updated. Okay, before your departure, not on your road or on the way or anything else. Before you go, again, this is pretty much a checklist of things to do before you go, and some things to do before you even enter back into the United States. Again, specifically with getting a burner phone um, before you go back to the United States. And another thing for your laptop and all devices really, but specifically this, use a password manager for 501. Please and thank you. You want to make sure that you're not typing your credentials for anybody out there to see. Another thing that I forgot to include in this list was if you're going to be typing your credentials, which you shouldn't be, because you're going to have a password manager. But if it so happens that you need to type in a password or anything else like that, make sure you have your back to a wall and there's no windows or anything to your side because that keeps, again, it's like from anybody from like shoulder surfing or anything else, or just make sure there's nothing going on, in your background. Okay, and now when it comes to your external storage, USB drives, hard drives, SSD cards, okay, encrypt your drives. Yes, with this you can use VeraCrypt, which is cross-platform and free. You can use BitLocker to go for USB and Windows. You want to, oh gosh, use hardware encrypted drives, like a Kingston Iron Key for sensitive data. Another thing that I bought like a few years ago, this is a Lexer it says a fingerprint scanner on a USB drive. You can use something like that. Um, Make sure to also, when you label your drives, put your contact email only, not your name, not your employer, to reduce targeted theft. Okay. So I would say, yeah, not just for, your external USB, but also your laptop as well. So when you're storing your external hard drives, you want to store them separately from your laptop when you're transitioning through, airports and checkpoints. So that's, fairly easy to do. Consider using also encrypted cloud drives. For instance, something like Proton Drive or Tresorit. Again, that's Proton Drive or Tresorit. Um, the, Basically using the Proton suite of products. That's super helpful where it comes into, kind of priming yourself for good security practices. What you can also do is you can wipe drives with a secure erase tool, not just delete before disposal of a drive if you need to, or if the drive is lost. Okay. So I also have universal tips from across devices. So let's say that make sure to document all of your serial drives, or sorry, not the serial drives, but the serial numbers on all of your devices, and get it, physical on pen and paper. Write that down. Stick that somewhere in case something is lost or stolen. Make sure you know the border search laws of your destination. Because some authorities, as I touched on this a bit earlier, they have the authority to demand your passwords at entry. So just know about what security practices are in place in the countries that you're going to, or even maybe if you're an American, the country that you were coming from. And also, I would say, along with that, stay up to date with what's going on. And another thing is to avoid public USB charging stations, where you just plug the USB port into a jack. It's called juice jacking. Please don't do that. If you're going to need to charge your phone, make sure you bring your own wall charger or, your own USB data block, something like that, but your own, something that you have control over that because in those wall chargers, or even sometimes just the plates themselves, they're able to be your information is able to be extracted from those plugs and those types of things. So have your own little wall thing. Also, if you need to, actually, even if you don't need, no, you need to. You don't have to if you have like USAA, which I have. So, but to do, make sure you notify your bank to the places you'll be going, so that they can kind of keep track of your accounts and in case there's anything funky going on there. Also, your telecom company, let them know as well to avoid your accounts being locked out. Yeah, you want to be able to use your accounts as you go overseas. And what else do I have here for you? Yep. So those were some of the things that I thought of today. Uh, because I'm actually in the process of doing a lot of this. I've been doing it over the past couple of weeks, but I thought I'd just have a video for people to uh, kind of go from, especially since we travel, we tend to um, travel with our devices, a laptop, your phone, um, storage devices, and things like that. Especially if it's a longer traveling session outside of the country where you are. So, yeah, I think those are some pretty good tips to get you started. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments and we can give that a chat. And yeah, I forgot to say, hi, I'm C. I usually talk about MoveAbot stuff, sometimes cybersecurity, also fun and rest, joy things, information. And that's what I knew. So, end cards are there, and there, and there, and everywhere. And please like and subscribe. That would help out this little video channel. And that would be wonderful if you could do that. Okay. Aloha. I hope you have a wonderful day.